Hello and welcome to the FocusHoops WNBA Show. It is episode 7. It is the 3rd of September, year of the Fouts 2020. How are we in September already? I do not know. That means that we don't have long left in this season. And as you've already seen in today's episode title, we are talking about the race for the 8. Five playoff spots have been decided. We got 3 left to discover who will make the playoffs, and to discuss that tonight, to help us work it out, to make us understand what it all means, we've got the one, the only Michael Hansen-Morris, the WNBL D1 Coach of the Year. Mikey, how are you?
Yeah, good. Looking forward to the last 2 weeks of the season, which I'm sure are going to be chaotic.
Chaotic probably won't even begin to describe the word. By the way, my name is Darren. I'm the editor here of FocusHoops.com, host of myriad podcasts. We'll get into that as we go along the journey. Of course, as always, Las Vegas Sparks' biggest fan, who I think is a Mystics fan, the royalty of Manchester basketball herself. It is, of course, Kaz Bullock. Kaz, how are you this evening?
Hello, I'm good, thank you, Darren. Rocking my LA Sparks t-shirt today because they're on a roll, except that they lost, but they're still on a roll. That's okay.
A roll's.
I'm hoping there is some chaos in the last 2 weeks of the season. I can't believe how quick it's gone.
It's been a ridiculous 22-game season, of course, and they fly by, especially when you're playing every other day. We've even had back-to-backs this week because last week, of course, the protests in solidarity with Black Lives Matter and the scenes that we saw in America last week. But basketball's been back, and the action on the floor has been fantastic. 2 things. Firstly, just to let you know how Ash's charity campaign for the Perfect Day Foundation, when it is over, the campaign has ended. Do not click that link. Do not contribute to that, though you can see how it went. Roughly £2,000 raised, so huge work. That's going to make a difference to lives of kids, of girls and women in Zambia. So huge thank you to everybody involved there. Amazing job. But let's get into the basketball. Let's look at the WNBA standings so that we are all clear where we are. There they are on your screen now. The Seattle Storm, they remain top of the WNBA standings, 14-3 record. The Sparks, 13-4. The Las Vegas Aces had a little bit of a tricky one, and they're down to 12-4. They're in 3rd spot. Minnesota Lynx, Chicago Sky have both clinched, up for grabs. The 6, 7, and 8 seeds, Phoenix Mercury, Connecticut Sun, and the indomitable Dallas Wings round out the 8. Indiana Fever, Washington Mystics, Atlanta Dream, and the New York Liberty round out the remainder of the WNBA standings, with how many games left to go? For most teams, they've got about, 6, 7 games left? Is my maths deceiving me? I think it might be.
Most have about 6 left.
Yeah, 5 or 6 on the majority.
5 or 6 on the majority. So, Mikey, let's throw over to you to begin with. What stood out to you over the last week or so of WNBA action?
Well, it seems a very long time ago now, but because of obviously the decision last week to not play, we didn't really cover it, and we had Super Sunday about 10 days ago now. So we had 2 overtime games and a 1 possession game in the 3rd game. So that was the Atlanta Dream 78, Minnesota 75, Dallas 81, Los Angeles 84, and Phoenix 88, Washington 87. And that was just an incredibly fun day of basketball, of WNBA hoops. The first overtime game of the season, promptly followed by the next. And yeah, it was all 3 games were thoroughly entertaining, on a knife edge, and that's exactly what we like to see. I remember the group chat, we were all pretty excited for what was going on. And after the week before, fairly blowout-ish games, it was nice to see everything get back to nice and tight and competitive. And obviously we've had a lot more close games since. But that Super Sunday was certainly a memorable one.
Yeah, I've taken to calling you the curse. And I still think that's a fairly fair moniker. But maybe you're just like the soothsayer. Maybe you just know. You know, because before last Thursday, or the Thursday before rather, you were kicking off and moaning, you know, oh, the game's gone, blah, blah. And then, hey, games are back. Big score, close games are back, and long may it continue the last 2 weeks. And of course, the exciting playoff format that is in the WNBA. Mikey, let's stick with you just for a moment. Anything else stand out in terms of games? Any standout performances that you wanted to get into before we touch on other matters?
I think obviously the team that's kind of turned their form around a little bit in the last week or so is Phoenix. We've sort of talking about them just being this 500 team that always just seem to find a way to win a couple, then lose a couple, win one, lose one, not have any consistency, and we've really turned it around. They had a big win over Vegas on Tuesday night, 92-85, having just beaten Minnesota at the weekend. So that was 2 really high-powered performances, 2 big wins, and Taurasi has kind of turned her form around ever since she flipped into the Kobe Bryant 8 jersey for the game to sort of memorize Kobe's sort of birthday and sort of Mamba Day that followed. She's kind of been on all fires going, all cylinders going. A couple of 30-point games. I think it was 26 points at the half on Tuesday night against Vegas, including 6 of 10 from 3, and a couple of records were in danger. And she's really seemed to spark this Mercury team into a late season charge up the table.
Carlos, we're going to come over to you. What stood out to you? What have you noticed in the last week or so of WNBA action?
So I definitely agree with Mikey about Phoenix. They seem to have found their footing a little bit. Now they're down to 7 players, I think. Sophie Cunningham in the last game only played 9.5 minutes due to a groin injury. They've obviously lost Brittany Griner, who's left the wobble, and Bria Hartley, who's been having a fantastic year. But they're still managing to put it together. And I guess that shows the experience. The Taurasi is one of the best, if not the best player the WNBA's ever seen. It's really good to see. I hope they can keep it up. I don't know if maybe the 7-player rotation is going to be a bit of a problem soon, but that's been a nice thing to see. Just in general, I think the sense of urgency is starting to creep into a lot of these games. The playoffs are getting closer. Seeding is going to be decided. You're seeing that a lot of the games are getting very fast. They're getting very scrappy, some of them, because there's a lot at stake. And then in addition to that, you're seeing teams where they're losing players, fatigue's setting in. They've had the back-to-backs this week. I think they will again this Monday. And that's playing that's going to start to have an effect on some of the teams that I think we might have seen already. One of my favourite games this week was just the Chicago-Indiana game, where Courtney Vandersloot set the all-time assist record. She broke Tisha Penicheiro's record of 16 assists in a game from 1998. So 22 seasons that stood. And she had 18 assists. The 17th, the record-breaking one, came on a pass out to Ali Quigley, obviously a wife on the team, for a 3-pointer. And it was just a great moment to see. And it was great to see how much the team celebrated for her and how pleased the team were for her as well. And Courtney Vandersloot's having one of her best seasons this year. I think she's maybe someone that doesn't get thrown into the MVP conversation as much as maybe she should do with the season she's having and the way she leads that team.
Okay, let's have that conversation now. Courtney Vandersloot, MVP. Is it happening, Kaz Bullock?
No, but she's up there. I still think Brianna Stewart will be, but she deserves to be talked about in the Brianna Stewart, Asia Wilson conversation. Definitely. She's this is a best scoring season. She's averaging 9.4 assists a game. It wouldn't surprise me at all if she finished the season ending 10 or above with the way that she's playing.
Wow. I think that was her aim coming in. That was certainly an ambition or a question that was asked quite a lot of her. Could she make double-digit assists, which I think would be the highest average assists of all time?
Yeah. I think she can. They've got 4 games left of Chicago, so she needs just over 10 a game. And what did she have last night? 12. She's had 30 in the last 2 games, so it wouldn't put it past her. I think sometimes we maybe don't think of it. Maybe she's not noticed as much because, as we say, she is a pass first player, and maybe points generally, I think, get people's attention, don't they? So maybe that goes under the radar. But the way she leads that team, and you could see it at the start of the season when she was going off onto the bench, they were sort of slipping a little bit. They were falling into a bit bad habits, and she comes in, she leads them, and obviously the play between her and Ali Quigley is just fantastic to see. They always know where they are.
Mikey, salute for MVP.
I think she's going to be just short. I think Chicago's sort of fallen off a little bit with the loss of Diamond Shields and Azurá Stevens. And I think that's kind of going.
Is that her ankle gone?
I'm going to say knee, but it's knee.
But
yeah, I think kind of Chicago kind of fallen out of the race. I think the loss to Minnesota probably means they can't get into the top 4 anymore. And I think if Chicago are in that top 4, I think Vandersloot has a bit more of an argument. But I think them missing out on the top 4 probably means she'll be on the outside looking in. But Kaz said it, she's had a great season. I've just tried to do some quick maths. I think she needs 51 assists in the last 4 games to get to 220, which would give her the 10 a game. But she is on pace, as it is currently, to break the record because she owns it. It was 9.1 last year. So at 9.4, she's on pace to break the assist per games record again. So 10 is possible, but needing nearly 13 a game's certainly doable the way she's playing. But it is probably a slight uphill battle, but she's got every chance.
What's the magic number there, Mikey?
I believe it's 51 in 4 games.
51. Right, 51. So that's a countdown. That's the Michael Hansen-Morris countdown. Every Courtney Vandersloot assist, we're going to knock one off that countdown. Thanks, Mikey. I appreciate you volunteering to do that job for us. Got like a tracker on the wall or something like chalk. It's going to be glorious. How generous do you reckon? So you're a stats guy, Mikey. How generous do you think the scorers are going to be with assists for Sloot? If it's the last game, she needs a couple. It's like, I mean, was that an assist? Oh, we'll just give it to the. Can we see that happening?
No. There's too much on the line just to hand out records, and look, she wouldn't want to get to 10 assists that game either. But yeah, the criteria is pretty. It's as a stats, it's not to say it's cut and dry. Like we know what the criteria for an assist is, and it's not always. There's a few that are like, but generally they're pretty obvious. Are they an assist? Yes or no? Because the criteria is so set. But yeah, look, 51 in 4 games. She's had 18 and then 12 or 13 last night. So she's averaged 50 in the game for the last 2 games. So it's definitely doable. And she's also got an outside shot that your famous 50-40-90 club. So a couple of things to keep an eye on for Vandersloot down the stretch.
Right, well, there we go. The Mikey Hansen-Morris, he's going to be keeping track of the assist numbers. And as well, we're going to have a big 50-40 update next week, next Thursday. Mikey, do not let me forget. Put it in the group chat, like literally now. that have agreed to do this. We're going to have a big 50-40 update for you next week. So we're not too sure if Sloot is on for MVP, but very possible. A reminder to you watching, if you're watching live, if you're watching on catch up, firstly, thank you for getting involved and joining us here on FocusHoops WNBA Show. Get your comments in. We read all the comments after the fact, and if you get it in live, we can pop it up on the screen. We'll discuss it. Are we being ridiculous about something? We know Kaz has her spicy takes. Has somebody said something that you just I don't agree with that? Have we said something correct? Who do you think is going to be the WNBA MVP, Rookie of the Year? Because there's more conversation to be had there, even in today's episode. Get your comments in. We absolutely love hearing you what you think about the league. Who's had the best week? What team has had the best week, do you think? Kaz?
That's a question.
It is a question.
Oh, you've caught me off guard there a little bit. I want to say Seattle. Okay. I think they've kind of got back. They had that run of two losses in a row to Indiana and Vegas, which I don't think anyone was expecting. The Indiana one, maybe we were the Vegas one. They're back on form now. Won 3 in a row. Played Washington last night, and obviously Washington were the first team to beat them at the start of the season. They didn't look threatened at all by Washington last night, and they've kind of found the rhythm again a bit more. Brianna Stewart was saying they kind of needed a bit of a rest, needed a bit of a break. They needed to get back to what they were doing, which was winning after those 2 games. Bit of burnout, I think, but the extended break, they're looking very good. The 3-point shooting, though, has dropped off a little bit as to what we were seeing at the start of the season. They were making some ridiculous numbers at the start of the season, but but despite that, they're still in sync. Sue Bird's back. Which obviously plays a huge part in the makeup of that team. She's probably what they were missing in those couple of losses to get everyone's head focused, and then it allows Jordan Canada to come off the bench, which, while she's a great starter, it's really good having her lead that second unit when Sue Bird is in the starting lineup.
Now, for you, do you think that she is... Sorry, let's try that one again. Do you think that the Storm are the locked in for the 1 seed?
No, I think... So, Mikey was saying before as well, and I've been looking at the games that to be played. I think they will finish 1 or 2, but I think LA could sneak up on them there. LA are at 13-4 at the moment, and Seattle are 14-3. I wouldn't be surprised if Seattle maybe lost 1 more and fell into the second. Well,
they've still got that Vegas game to go, a Vegas matchup. And speaking of Vegas, our resident gambling expert, Mike Hunter Morris, you've taken a look over the numbers. You've looked at every team's strength of schedule. Is that right?
Yeah.
So using your powers of strength of schedule knowledge, Storm, are they locked in for the 1 seed in your eyes? Obviously not confirmed. They're 14-3. LA is 13-4. Las Vegas 12-4. Mikey, what do you think?
I think they could drop. Worst case scenario, they could drop to 4. They've got to play the top 3. They've still got LA, Vegas, and Minnesota all on the schedule. So that, look, anything can happen. Could Dallas or Phoenix upset Seattle as well? The way Phoenix are playing, definitely. If Dallas get into a situation where they're incredibly desperate for a win, it's possible. I've kind of got Seattle probably finishing on 17 wins, and then it will just come down to tie breaks potentially between, if they get to 17, most likely between LA and Vegas and Seattle. And with the tie breaks the way they are a little bit harder to work out this year, because if a team doesn't sweep the head-to-head 2-0, it goes down to winning percentage with all teams above 500. So that's going to be 6 or 7 teams. But until we kind of know if Connecticut sneak into that 500 or they finish 10 and 12, things like that can have a massive effect. So I think it's all to play for at the top. But to me, the top 4 have kind of established themselves after the Minnesota win last night.
So in terms of the playoff race, then, do we think the top 7's locked in? Not that order necessarily, but are we confident? Can we lock in? Can we put an X next to Phoenix and Connecticut, do you think?
I think so. I believe Phoenix clinched tonight with a win over Indiana.
Okay.
So they should be locked in by tonight. They're certainly very close. And yeah, the way Connecticut are playing, I think they're 7-3 in the last 10 games. So you'd struggle to think they would lose out. And it's definitely going to be hard for the likes of Indiana, Washington, Atlanta to get all the way up to 9 wins. So I think it would be a struggle to not have those top 7 as our playoff teams.
So shall we talk about the 8th seed then? So New York technically not eliminated.
Nope.
It would take a miracle, but they've got 6. They've got 6 games left.
Yep.
8 and 14, if results go their way, could see them in the playoffs. Hands up, who wants to see New York Liberty just sweep the next 6 games? I'm here for that energy. Where's my hand? There it is. I'm here for that energy.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? I love the fact that that is still mathematically possible. So if they lose their next game, which is against
Atlanta tonight.
Oh, that's a big game.
I've got another team I want to see win the last 5 games.
It's the Dallas Wings, isn't it? It's the indomitable Dallas Wings, as they're officially known.
I don't think so.
Go on then, Cam.
I want Kennedy Carter to take Atlanta to the playoffs. I want them to win the next 5 games, sweep right into the playoffs, into that 8th seed, break the rookie scoring record while she's at it, and then get the Rookie of the Year.
Why do you hate multiple? Why do you? What's your problem with multiple double scorer Satu Sabali, who is still in conversation in my head for Rookie of the Year?
No, she absolutely is. She's just no Kennedy Carter because for me, I think I know I'm biased here.
A little bit.
I feel that the impact that Carter has on her team, if you take her off Atlanta, we saw what they were like without her. I feel like she has more of an impact, and not just scoring wise, just in the sort of leadership role and the energy that she brings to the team. I think if you take Satu or Dangerfield out of the teams, they're still winning. They're still doing well, maybe not as well, but I just think Atlanta without Carter are just a different team. And that's my kind of criteria. People might see it differently for what they want out of an MVP or Rookie of the Year, but to me, that's what makes the package.
Looking back at the standings, and we'll get into award season because we've got the August awards to talk about, as well as something that Mikey's just put in there, which I find quite interesting. We'll get to that. Can we see the Dallas Wings, aka the indomitable Dallas Wings, making the 8? Lost their last time out, 3-7 over the last 10. 4-5 at home, so great home record. That home court advantage is strong. 2-6 on the road, 1-7 in conference. Why do we care about conference? Literally doesn't matter. It's a 12-team, just single league structure. I don't care if you're West or East. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm just there. Especially when they're a central venue league, but never mind.
I think it's Dallas's to lose.
It's Dallas's to lose. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I think they're in position to keep that 8th seed. The other teams, Indiana, Washington are going to have to make a real push, and Atlanta would have to make a ridiculous push to do it. It's that Dallas have got Minnesota, Washington, Seattle, Chicago, and New York. So they should, you would think, get at least 2 wins out of that. And then, they're a team that could definitely upset someone on their day, like, upset a Chicago or a Seattle. So it's theirs to lose, definitely.
So what I'm hearing is Dallas second round at least. I like that. That's good.
I think that's what
I said. Based on what we saw from Washington on Sunday evening, I don't see it. I think they'd need to do something quite drastic. Indiana, that's an interesting one. I don't remember where we had Indiana at the start of the season, but
I think you all had them winning no more than about 7 games.
Well, they're on track.
From what I remember.
On track for that.
So we could be seen as to be correct. At the end of the regular season, we're going to go over this. We're going to see how right we all were. Atlanta, one last time out, but they're going to need a bit of a miracle.
Yeah. What a great story. Like, wouldn't it be good if something like that happened? If it was in New York, if it was Atlanta, if someone just stormed into the 8th seed.
That would be the most ridiculous thing in the world, and I'm here for it. I am actually here for it. I'm here for chaos.
Yeah.
I think 6. Yeah, I mean, if Connecticut lost every game and New York won every game, they could even. Yeah, we could see some real chaos.
I think it would be interesting if a team can get to 9 wins. I think it's probably an uphill battle for everyone. Dallas I think 9 would clinch. The way kind of the league shaping out, 9 will definitely clinch. If Dallas can get 3 wins out of Minnesota, Washington, Seattle, Chicago, and New York, they're in. So realistically, it probably is. It's not safe to assume. We know that in this league. But you probably say they drop games to Minnesota and Seattle. And you say they probably beat New York. So that gets them to 7-13 with games against the Mystics and Chicago. Now, Chicago are starting to struggle a little bit. But that Washington game on Sunday night, our time, I think it's 9 o'clock our time, the first game on Sunday, that's going to be a make or break for both teams. I don't see a way that Washington can make the playoffs if they don't beat Dallas. So that's a must win for the Mystics. And if they do, then suddenly Dallas, Indiana, Washington, Atlanta have all got at least a outside shot of getting to 8 wins. So now we can start to see those tiebreakers coming into it. And at that point, it's anyone's guess who's going to make it if we get multiple teams at 8 wins.
What say you to? Actually, no. Let's not talk about it on air. I think. Let's not talk about that one on air. So, any more that we need to talk about with the WNBA standings? Anything else, strength of schedule wise, or anything that stands out?
So we know how important the buys are, the first and second round buys are in a regular season, and I think they're going to be even more important this season with the lack of rest days and the condensed schedule. So whoever gets those first 2 spots it's going to be very well deserved. They're going to be fighting for them. So carry on that thought, Kaz. Who do you think is going to clinch 1 and 2? I'm going to say Seattle and LA. Okay. Mikey?
Seattle. And then it's going to come down to the final Saturday of the season. I think that LA Vegas matchup on the Saturday, I think that may well decide the second seed. Just looking at what time that is, and it's disappeared. I got to schedule up. But yeah, I think it's the last Saturday of the season. We've got LA Vegas, and that might well decide it. We also need to sneak in. They also need to sneak in. That's 12 p.m. Pacific time. So what's that going to be? 3 Eastern? No, 3 Eastern. On the Saturday, yep.
So that's going to be 8 p.m. Ooh.
Good one for us.
I tell you what, guys, that sounds like a live watch along. If ever I did hear one. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Vegas. We've kind of talked about Vegas' schedule, but they have LA on the Saturday, and then they return literally 24 hours later to play Seattle.
Has that been that's been confirmed? Has it? Is rearranged?
Yeah. Yep. So there's
Perfect.
3 games being added on Sunday, the 13th of September. Dallas, New York, Vegas, Seattle, and Washington, Atlanta. So we are potentially set up for a last weekend of drama. Maybe Atlanta or Washington, one of them needs to win to have a outside shot at the 8th seed going in, depending on the tie breaks. But yeah, it certainly doesn't get easy for Vegas with Minnesota Thursday, LA on the Saturday, and Seattle on the Sunday. So I think this time next week we might not be any the wiser of what is going on at the top. Now,
am I being unfair in thinking it depends which Minnesota turns up? A little bit. I'm not talking like we were about Mercury 2-3 weeks ago, but just a little bit. Minnesota are a little bit not streaky, but sometimes they don't always bring their absolute best, what you expect from the Minnesota Lynx. Am I being unkind in any way?
I think so. Look, they've overachieved. I don't think anyone had them at 12-5 especially without Sylvia Fowles, who's still out.
Yeah.
And if they get her back, you can't rule Minnesota out of a top 2 spot. Even if they lost to Seattle and they beat Vegas, they would have a chance to get to 16 wins. And if they do that by beating Vegas, I believe they tied the head-to-head with LA. It's the one head-to-head at the top 4 that's been sorted. 16-6 could get them the 2 spot, which would be remarkable. And yeah, Sylvia Fowles is still to come back, so I think Minnesota are looking good. And yeah, for sure they have some ups and downs, but it's no more so really than any other team in the league this year.
Yeah, no, that's completely fair. So I think we've pretty much gone over everybody in the WNBA, every side in WNBA. Any mention for Connecticut Sun? I was quite impressed by them the other day.
Yeah, they've certainly turned the corner. They're 7-3 in the last 10. And next week's interesting. They have Phoenix twice, Monday and I believe Wednesday. Monday being the rearranged game from last week. So that could suddenly swing them up to a 6 seed, and they've started really slowly. We were a month ago saying we assume they're going to win a game, but they're like 0-4, 0-5. And they've certainly turned the corner. They're playing a lot better. They're getting contributions from a few more players on the roster, and then the top players are still playing great. Duana Bonner's been terrific from day one. And again, she's probably someone that's on the outside looking in for MVP, but the numbers and consistency she's put up this year has been remarkable.
I don't know about MVP, but she's certainly up there, and she's certainly in the conversation. How cool would it be if Connecticut made 5 seed? I can't see them going any higher. That's the absolute ceiling for me. But how cool would that be? It'd be outrageous.
I don't think they can do it. It would need a lot to happen. They'd probably have to win out, and then get the tiebreak on Chicago. Just because they're so far back. I've got Connecticut probably looking at maximum 12 wins, and with Chicago already at 11. You would think that maybe those Phoenix games might decide 6 and 7.
Sounds reasonable. So we're all agreed then. The 8 is as it stands. It's going to get a bit interesting, but Dallas is definitely making the playoffs. That's what I've heard from everybody so far.
Ask me Sunday after Dallas Mystics.
We can't keep doing this. Do you know what's going to happen? We're going to get to the last weekend. We're going to get to is it next? Oh God, yeah, it'll be next Thursday. We'll be here next Thursday, and Mikey will be like, "I'd tell you what, let's not discuss this now. Ask me after Sunday." I'm like, we can't do that because that's literally after the season ended.
Yeah, but you know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen. Dallas are going to then beat Minnesota and then lose to Mystics on Sunday just to confuse it even more. That's the type of way this season's gone.
Yeah.
I mean, you did. Who else? Washington could beat Chicago on Friday and throw that equation massively into the spanner into the works there. So things like that are probably going to happen at some point. Just because of the way this season's gone.
Who did Washington last beat? They're on a 5-game losing streak at the moment. I can't remember who their last win came against.
That is a very good question.
It's a good question.
They don't.
They lost to Phoenix by 1. They must have won the game before that. Nope, that's a Dallas loss. Atlanta, I think.
Ah, okay.
Yes, 98.
Oh,
91.
Okay. They just don't look like they've got enough pieces to me, Washington. They seem like they're just missing a bit too much now.
Yeah, I mean, they went 3-0 to start the season, so if that Washington turns up again, you never know. But yeah, if you say they started 3-0, they're now 1-11 in their last 12 games.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah, it's certainly not the form of a team that's going to make a playoff run. But again, anything is possible in the wobble.
Hey, they've got I think FocusHoops WNBA Show's favorite player playing for them.
They have Jackie G. Jackie G from 3.
Did she retweet one of our tweets the other day?
She did.
Tweets?
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
Are we? Can we say a friend of the? Dare we say friend of the show, Jackie Jevnos?
Let's say it. And she had 10 points last night in the loss.
Nice.
And as I described it in the group text at whatever time in the morning it was, she decided that she'd spot up from the Orlando bubble instead of the AMG bubble with one of them. It was about a 35-footer, I think is fair.
With pressure as well.
Yeah.
Very, very special player, Jackie G. Now, again, comments. Get your comments in. Who is making it into the 8? Will it be Dallas? Will it be Washington, Atlanta, Indiana? Could we even see the New York Liberty without Sabrina Ionescu? Could they make the impossible dream and make the 8? Let us know in the comments. Get involved. We absolutely love your input here on Focus Hoops WNBA Show. Let's switch focus. We've spoken about the teams. Now let's speak about some individuals. It is the August Awards. They have been announced. We have Coach of the Month, Bill Lambert. Tremendous record the Aces went on. I think they lost 1 game in August. I think I'm right in saying that.
Yep, 11-1.
There we go, 11-1. Crystal Dangerfield, we wrote an article about her. Rookie of the Month. Could she be Rookie of the Year? Need I say it again? From the second round, the lowest ever picked Rookie of the Year? Question mark. Of course, Asia Wilson, very high on everybody's MVP ballot. Obviously working under Bill Lambert. And Courtney Vandersloot, the record holder of assists in a game at 18, the assist in a season record holder, and going for 10 plus assists per game this year. What do we think of our award winners, people? Can anybody possibly complain about these award winners?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Ooh.
Why do we have them? That is my complaint.
Well, how's that a complaint? Like, we're in a season, we do awards every month. We've had a month. What is your problem?
Where were July's awards?
Well, that wasn't a full month. That was like a day.
I know. No, I just think with the way the schedule's kind of been, that it's just a bit like we're going to play 1 week in July and 10 days in September. You could probably argue this has tipped the hand to where MVP, Rookie of the Year, Coach of the Year is maybe going, just because there's not a lot of basketball to be played outside of August. That's like the actual winners themselves. Yeah, I mean, you can make some arguments. You could make an argument for Derek Fisher, for example. But I think on the whole, you can't really go wrong with the selections they've made. But yeah, I just think the timing of the awards and the way the schedule's so condensed that perhaps maybe this year we didn't really need the awards. And I mean, I think we were all a little bit surprised when they did come out because we weren't really thinking about them. But yeah, I mean, why not play of July and August since we only had a week in July? Like, so, that's my only complaint.
My question, my sort of assumption is this linked in any way to contracts? Is there some sort of, if you win Player of the Month, you get X or Y, or negotiation power, and you know the league don't want to be taking that away from a player because they've played a month, you know? And if it happens every single season, why should it not happen this season? Though at the same time, we don't have an all-star game, but then that doesn't happen in Olympic years, and this should have been an Olympic year. I don't know. Big question marks, big shrugs.
Yeah, it's a good point because we know some of the like all-star nods and things are linked to contracts, aren't they? So it could be something like that. But I was as shocked as I guess you two when it came out. Like, oh, this is a thing. But I think the winners are totally well deserved. They've all been fantastic. You know, Bill Laimbeer as well. I don't know if I can't remember what we said about Las Vegas at the start of the season, but I don't think anybody would have maybe expected them to be doing as well as they have, especially with losing, you know, Kelsey Plum, Liz Cambage. People weren't sure how Angel McCoughtry was going to look coming back off her injury last year. So he's done a great job putting them together. Yeah. And especially
the fact that there were days when they had 4 players training.
Yeah. And they're a team that just don't shoot threes, and they in this day and age, and they're still winning, which they shoot 12% of their points are from 3, which is the next closest to that is Connecticut with 22% of their. But he's making it work.
Making it work. So aside from Mikey's hot / rageful take, what do you think of the award winners themselves? So obviously Kaz is all in on Laimbeer. Do you think that was fair for Coach of the Month? Michael Hunter Morris?
Oh, was that for me? Yeah. I mean, I've just had a quick look at the records. I mean, so in August, I've got Seattle at 12-2, Vegas at 11-2, Sparks 11-3, Minnesota 10-4. So you're kind of splitting hairs there between the top 3. Yeah, sometimes you've got a coin flip on these awards. I think maybe Vegas were not expected to do as well as Seattle, so I think going with Laimbeer is probably the right thing to do. And if we had a tiebreaker, let's be honest, he's won Coaching Personality of August just for his hair and hairbands. So let's give him the extra percentage point there.
I was talking to. Oh, go on, Kaz.
Oh, no, sorry. I was just going to say a coach that I feel like we don't mention, and not just us, just in general, that doesn't get mentioned a lot is Gary Kloppenburg for Seattle. And he's taken over. So he was assistant coach last year, and he's taken over from Dan Hughes, who was out because he had cancer treatment last year. So he's considered high risk. So he's an assistant that stepped up into, you know, head coaching position, and look what he's done with Seattle. And I know sometimes you can discount that and say, yeah, but look at the players you've got on Seattle. Like, how could you not win with them? But I think he's done a really good job there, because that could be quite a tough position to come into. And I think he's done well, but he doesn't always seem to get mentioned in those conversations.
Yeah, I know. I do wonder how it's a good point that Mikey raises about, you know, the media aspect of it and the personality aspect of it. I was talking to a friend in work today, day job. And he says, I've not been able to watch too much of this WNBA, but I do follow the Aces on social media, and they're great. The hairband, you love to see it. So I don't think that much of that would have gone into it, because in August the Aces, I think, were probably just about the best team in the league. But you make a really good point, and we see that though, don't we? With the absolute best teams, they don't always necessarily get the individual accolades, or maybe the coaches don't necessarily get the credit where it's due, because the players are so good. I mean, how could you not succeed? You've got Brianna Stewart, Stewie, as the media likes to call her. She's the greatest, she's currently the best player in the world. You got Sue Bird, arguably the best player who's ever played the game, one of. It's Hira Tarasi. They've got GOAT talk. I know you love it, Kaz, but
I need more. Yeah. I need more than 30 seconds.
We need more clips. If there was more variety of clip, because I'm all in, because their relationship kind of fascinates me, and I love it, because they're like best mates. They played together forever in Europe. They played in college, and they're like two of the best players to ever play, and they play the same position, and they don't hate each other. It's amazing. You love to see it. I love to see it. I don't know if Mikey loves to see it. Mikey, do you love to see it?
Yeah, I mean, WNBA have done a good job of slowly adding elements to League Pass as the season's gone on. So that was certainly the one we saw the most at the start of the season. And yeah, it is a shame we kind of don't have as much, because they're two great personalities, and they're great to the league.
Let's move on to the players then. Crystal Dangerfield, Rookie of the Month. Kaz, putting aside your personal feelings, what do you think?
She's been fantastic. I think we were talking before as well. Playing the point guard for Minnesota in the WNBA, and as in a rookie season, it's such a hard position to play, and she's doing it. She's matching up against some of like the greatest guards and greatest players that we've got in the league, and she's not fazed by it. She doesn't look fazed. She was 16th pick, wasn't she, in the draft? And I know there was talk before about her height. She's 5'5". Could she stand against that? Is the physicality going to be against her there? And it's not. Like she's proven it. She had a great month. So 18.1 points a game, 3.5 assists, and 2 rebounds as well. And she's filled in great. She's a well-deserved rookie of the month, and it'll be exciting to see her, as she grows and develops throughout the years as well. They've got a really good pick there of Minnesota.
So coming back to what you said about Kennedy Carter and what Mikey said about Minnesota, and where we had Minnesota in our heads at the start of the season, where they are now, obviously, let's just remind ourselves they are in the 4th seed, 12-5. They could be as high as the 2 seed, perhaps, maybe even the 1 seed, if things shake out their way. It's hey, Mikey, what did Kevin Garnett teach us? He taught us that anything is possible, even if it's not super likely. I believe those were his words verbatim.
It's possible.
It's possible. It is doable. Surely, taking your point, Kaz, about what an individual brings to a team and how they perform overall, I mean, Rookie of the Year, it's not a cert by any means, but it's got to be darn close.
Yeah, I think it is. And I don't think this is, as your article that you posted said, there's never been a Rookie of the Year that's been picked later than, is it 8th?
I think maybe 7th. I think it's 7th.
Sorry.
And that was the first year of the WNBA.
Like this would be huge, and this speaks to the amount of talent that there is out there, and the amount of talent that's in the college leagues, that's overseas, that's coming into the WNBA. Expand the league, get more teams, so we can spread it out a bit. But it would be a fantastic story, and she's she's talked about it, and she's just playing, and Cheryl Reeves got that confidence in her to let her go. There was a game the other week where she had a 3 in the last few seconds of the game. I want to say it was against Atlanta, but I'm not 100% on that. And she missed. They ended up losing the game. But Cheryl Reeve was sort of saying, if I'm not mad at that. Like she does so much for us. The basketball IQ is so good. If she makes it, obviously we'd be thrilled. But like her decision making in the game is, is really good. So I'm not mad about that decision. And that's the kind of confidence you want to have from a coach that's going to allow you to do that. Maybe learn from that, and take those shots at the end of the game, at the end of close games.
Coach, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, Satu, Kennedy Carter, Sabrina, who are probably the three everyone was thinking might challenge for it, all missed games in August. And that's kind of hard when it's to give it to one of those. Look, Julie Alamon's been the other point guard that's been great in the league. But ultimately, Indiana are 4-9. Minnesota went 9-4 in August, and just in general, Crystal's numbers are just a little bit higher than Julie's. So I think it was almost a no-brainer. Albeit we kind of do need to give a bit of a shout out to Kamaya Smalls, who played one game in August. So okay, not a big sample size, but she didn't miss a shot. She had 13 points in the 17 minutes for Indiana. And yeah, that was some feat to make your debut as a rookie and come in and not miss a shot, go 4-4 from the floor, and I think she had 2 assists without a turnover as well, and 4 rebounds. So that was an impressive debut. But yeah, Dangerfield was clearly the best rookie in August.
So player of the month for the West, Asia Wilson. Again, fantastic month for the Aces in general, as seen by Coach of the Month, and they top the power rankings for this week as well. Asia Wilson, 20.3 points per game, 8.3 rebounds, 2.2 blocks per game. Dominant stuff. And for me, player of the year, MVP. That's the one. Sorry, MVP for me. Kaz, what say you?
Asia has been fantastic this year, and I completely agree with her winning this for the month. I mean, when you look at her and Brianna Stewart's numbers, they're very close together. And I think what gave her the edge this month is the wins. Vegas came out with the better record, and I think that's the story we've seen all season. Stewart and Wilson are just so closely matched up, and I think the MVP at the end of the season could come down to which team had the most wins, which team finishes the highest. But Wilson's so good, and she's really stepped up her game, and she's filled in for where we were saying like Cambage and Kelsey Plum around, and everything's working. Her and McCautry together, I love watching that. It's such a good such good teamwork together, and they're very close off the court. They're just great to watch at Vegas. They're a very fun team to watch, and she deserves that.
Mikey?
Yeah, I probably would have given it to Stewart, but it's a coin flip. You kind of look at the numbers, 11-1 versus 11-2. So Wilson did have a slightly better record, and their numbers are so close. Stewart edges points per game by 0.2. Field goal percentage 2% different over the month. Free throw percentage 3% different over the month. Wilson edged the rebounds by just over half a rebound. They're so close to split. I think it had to be one of those two, but there were some other exceptional performances. Arike Ogunbowale led the league in scoring for August at 22.9 points per game. And I also think Candice Parker's done a terrific job at Sparks. Kind of dominant on the glass, really facilitates the offense as well as scoring. But I think it was right that it came from one of those two.
Arike Ogunbowale, future MVP?
I think she's got a chance. I think she's probably got to find some ways to take some more consistent looks in terms of maybe being a little bit more open. I feel like the flaw in the game, if anything, is she seems to force a few tough looks, and that kind of drops the field goal percentage down. But she has been dynamic for the Sparks, and look, it's not easy to score 20 points in a game in this league, never mind to average 23 in a month. So she's done a terrific job, but there are some things she needs to probably iron out to join that elite group at the top.
Yeah, don't forget, second-year player, of course, narrowly missed out to Nafisa Collier for Rookie of the Year last year. Of course, Nafisa Collier playing with this year's Rookie of the Month, Crystal Dangerfield. Very quickly, Kaz, what do you reckon? Rike, future MVP?
Yeah. She's definitely got the potential to be. Much like Mikey says, yeah, she can be a bit more consistent. Maybe sometimes instead of taking the difficult contested shot, just pass out of that and develop that as a player. I think that's probably something that's going to come with time and experience in the league. But yeah, definitely got the potential to be. She's she can turn it on and just score when she wants to.
And finally, and we've already spoken about Courtney Vandersloot, but of course, Courtney Vandersloot winning in the East, Player of the Month, 13.6 points per game, an enormous 9.5 assists per game, and 1.3 steals per game. So, I don't know, maybe that 10 a game. She needs 51 assists for the remainder of the season to get that average of 10. But a well-worthy Player of the Month. I can't think of anybody else in the East that deserves it like Courtney Vandersloot did. Michael?
And I think this is
sorry, go on, Kaz.
Sorry. Go, Kaz.
I was just going to say, and this is another reason why we don't need the conferences, because when you look at it, if we're splitting to look at the East sometimes, when you're trying to pick a player, the performances in the West have been so much stronger, and you'd kind of just like to pick two players, but I guess they have to have that cut.
Yeah, I suppose I don't fully understand why they need to do that. I'm just going to bring up the WNBA standings on Google, because Google likes to tell us East-West Conference. Yeah, the East has been pretty dreadful this season.
Well, you've got 12 teams in the league, 6 above 500, 5 below 500. The East has 5 of the 6 teams that are below 500.
Yeah. But they still, and realistically, I think they're going to have the Sky and the Sun, and that's going to be their playoff contingent for this season. I don't see the Fever. Maybe they do. I can't see the Mystics, Liberty, or Dream making the playoffs. So yeah, East as it is in the men's league, in the women's league, the East really slacking behind. And yeah, I think Vandersloot more than worthy. Mikey, very quick.
Yeah, I think maybe the only other person you can really look at is DeWanna Bonn, as we kind of mentioned 15, 20 minutes ago or so. She had 15.5 points, just over 7 boards, 3 assists a game. And she's been great for Connecticut. But yeah, Vandersloot has led Chicago, the best team in the East, and she's on pace to set a record. So it's pretty close to a no-brainer.
Just want to, again, thank you all for watching. If you're watching live, if you're watching online, make sure that you subscribe to Focus Hoops. We're on YouTube, Facebook. We're on Twitch now with Split Focus Sports Podcast Network. All of those places. And if you can give us a thumbs up, that would be absolutely amazing as well. Don't forget, get your comments in either live or if you're watching back at a later point. We read all the comments. We love to get involved with what you have to say. Now, let's talk about the kids. It's not another charity thing. Though if you are a friend of the show and have a charity venture, would love to try and publicize that a little bit. Now, what do the kids like? The kids like WNBA 2K, even though the financial model isn't great. And we've just covered Mikey, and I am sorry about that. So here's every player rated 90 or above in WNBA 2K21. We've got Elena Deladon, 96, Brianna Stewart, 95, Maya Moore, 93, hasn't played in 2 seasons, but she's doing amazing amazing things for social justice outside of the league. Natasha Howard, 93. Brittany Griner, 92. John Quell Jones, 92. Liz Gambage, 91. Diana Taurasi, 91. Neka Awumake, 91. Sylvia Fowles, 90. Candice Parker, 90. What do we reckon to those WNBA 2K ratings?
Someone's missing.
Someone's missing. Did I not read it out? Or
no? Someone's missing off the 90s club.
And who is that?
Sue Bird.
I was thinking that, but I was more thinking about the player of the month.
Asia Wilson.
Asia Wilson is not on the list, and now there is a huge Twitter thread, and I've just gone and checked it. Wilson is an 89, but she definitely should be for me in that 90 club. And I'm gonna guess that these were probably done before the season, so there's probably some work to do to catch them up based on the reflection of this season. Because I mean, if you look at that list, pretty much everyone not in the wobble is on that list. If you look at who's actually playing, it's Stewie. Obviously Griner's played but now left. Taurasi, Neka, Sylvia Fowles has been out, and Candice Parker. So about half the list is not in the wobble, which is a bit of a shame. And I think there's a couple of players that have got cases to build 90s. And I do have the rookie scores as well, which I can go through in a minute.
Yes.
So I imagine there'll be some updates, but it's nice to see that 2K are doing more and more to put the women's game into it. They obviously did something either last year or 2 years ago to start building it in, and hopefully it does become a bit more of a prominent feature moving forwards.
Yeah, the WNBA was first in 2K last year's game, with its own bespoke commentary, which is great. And before that, it's been in the NBA Live basketball game for at least 1 or 2 years before that. My game of choice. Hey, I prefer live. I'm just saying it now. I prefer live, and for some reason I always played as the Atlanta Dream on live when I played in the WNBA. I don't know why. Actually, no, I do know why. It's Imani Stafford Mickey, but that's just me. Kaz, are you much of a WNBA 2Ker, and do you agree with these ratings?
So the last 2K I have is 2K11, so I need to update that.
Yeah, you do.
But yeah, I'd agree with those. But Asia should definitely be on there, and in the 90s, not just 90, in the 90s.
Yeah. 97, do you reckon, or is that too much?
I'd say 96, and then Aaron Stewart can fight it out again. 95, sorry.
95. Interesting. Mikey, let's hear these rookie numbers.
And I mean, you just look at them, and they are heavily based off the draft. So, unsurprisingly, the number 1 overall pick, Sabrina Ionescu, has the highest rating at an 84. And then Satu at 79, Lauren Cox 76, Kennedy Carter's a 74, along with Ruthie Hubbard. And then Bella Allery, Julie Alamon, Ty Harris, all at 72. And then Crystal Dangerfield at a 71.
Yeah, they'll be getting an
updates.
They'll be getting an update. I don't get too het up about these things, though actually, as a fan of a brilliant, beautiful Argentine football team and their PES ratings every year, I used to get pretty annoyed when Luciano Wade was not ranked in the 90s. But I know footballers and basketball players, they take, and Madden NFL players take a lot of pride in these numbers. So I expect 2K have been receiving some communication, let's just say, from players or their agents, because again, it's something like a 2K rating. Could that impact on their pay packet, on their wage? If you're a good player in 2K, I mean, that adds a bit of, people are going to be like, oh, I'm going to play as this person on 2K, and adds to the brand, builds the brand recognition.
Which is something that we want to see. We want to see the WNBA building and, getting the players' names out there as much as they can, because it's a fantastic league and we want everybody to watch it and get more and more viewers, more fans, more viewers, more teams, please.
Absolutely. And more positive
and we want orange
content.
hoodies.
Oh, yeah. NBA. Come on, WNBA. I know you're watching.
I had to go to LA to get this. I had to leave the country to buy this.
You have to leave the continent to get that.
Yeah.
If we can't even get that at NBA Europe, please.
No.
Sort it out. Or else we'll have to, there are means, We know people who print T-shirts and stuff. Less said the better. What was I going to say then? 2K ratings, build the brand. Oh, yeah. Another thing. On YouTube, can we have some more, positive WNBA content getting loads of views rather than these snarky, let's look at dunks in the WNBA videos? It's just do yourselves a favour. Sort yourselves out. Just have a little bit of a rant. Mikey, you've got a news update. You've just learned something.
Yeah. We have a second Brit in the WNBA.
I don't have a jingle, but if I did, I'd be playing it right now. Who's our second Brit?
Micah Herbert Harrigan, the 6th pick and Minnesota Lynx player. Apparently he's British. That is something I did not know. I don't think any of us did.
No. I mean, she was born in Anguilla. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm Welsh and I'm learning Spanish. My bad.
Yeah. So, that might be interesting moving forward with the GB national team, because she's certainly done well in WNBA in her rookie year. Obviously, Crystal Dangerfield's kind of stolen the show for Minnesota, but she's had a really good, solid role on the team, and she had a great career at South Carolina, I think she was at, if I remember correctly.
That's correct. Yeah, well done.
That could be a bit of positive news on the British basketball front.
So you'll be on the phone to Chema as soon as we get off the pod, yeah?
If I had his number, I would be, yeah.
You know people. You've got the connections. So that is largely it. Oh, sorry, Kaz.
Oh, so just looking at something else as well. Elizabeth Williams for Atlanta is British born as well. Can we snag them?
I mean,
for the GB team.
Mikey, you got to let Chema know when you find use your channels of communication there.
Will do.
From Colchester is Elizabeth Williams.
That's amazing. Why is this not being shouted to the hills? Now that we know, Focus Hoops bringing you the scoops. There'll be more. Colchester's own Elizabeth Williams doing big bits in the WNBA. Let's look forward to the next couple of days. What games stand out for us between now and, let's say, next Thursday?
Seattle, LA on Friday night or Saturday morning our time. I think that's probably the headline grabber. Certainly the next few days. Top two as it is in the standings currently, so that could be another highly competitive game. And I can't remember who won the first one. I think Seattle edged it, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, Seattle won it.
And what time is that going to be? That's going to be
3 a.m.
Late. 3 a.m. Friday. I think what might end up watching that one back the next day. Kaz, any fixture? Obviously, that game is going to stand out to you quite a lot. Any others?
Vegas and Vegas and Connecticut tomorrow. Tonight, sorry, because it's tomorrow at 1 o'clock tomorrow our time, 8 o'clock US time. So tonight, because like we were saying, Connecticut have been putting it together a little bit, and Vegas need to win to get the seeding. So I think that might be a tough one, but I think Vegas will come out with it. But I think it should be a good game, close one.
And just scrolling through, Dallas Wings Seattle Storm on Wednesday the 9th.
Tough one.
Interesting. Could be interesting.
I think the other one, if we're talking about trying to make the 8, obviously we've mentioned Dallas, Washington on Sunday already. But I think Connecticut, Indiana is close to a must-win for Indiana, depending on how they do against Phoenix tonight. And I think certainly by close of play Saturday, if Indiana go 0-2 against Phoenix and Connecticut, we can probably rule them out of the playoffs. So I think they're 2 must-win games, and I think Indiana will probably approach them that way and play with that little bit of an edge that sometimes you get in those situations.
Yeah, as a Coventry football fan, you would refer to that as a 6-pointer.
No, there's no such thing as 6 points. Every coach knows that. It's just a win or a loss every game.
Fair enough. So that almost brings us to a close for today's Focus Hoops WNBA show. So, Kaz, let's kick it over to you. Any other business that needs to be discussed from yourself?
I just want to shout out Brittany Sykes and Taya Cooper for their defense for the Sparks, which the last couple of weeks has just been amazing, really.
Brittany's so Taya putting on a block pie, isn't she?
Yeah, she is. And something. So this, so Taya Cooper is leading. She's second in the league in charges taken after Brittany Sykes, but Taya Cooper is 92nd in the league in minutes played. Yeah, she's getting on the court and she's just taking charges. Her defense has been really, really good, and between the two of them, they've really stepped it up for LA. Brittany Sykes, we've seen her when they were playing Dallas. She was all over Arike. Arike's still going to take those shots and she's going to make them, but she's making it hard for her. And between the two of them, I think they've just been they've been fantastic. Forcing the turnovers, and like you say, Sykes' blocks just oof.
Highlight reel worthy. Michael Hunter-Morris, AOB.
When we get to it, can the WNBA playoffs be as crazy as the NBA playoffs?
Yes, please.
The last 2 nights, the Game 7s have been incredible. Everything you want from a Game 7. We had a bit of history last night in the NBA. The first time since, I've forgotten, I'm going to say it's 1987, that we had a game decided with all the zeros on the clock and someone going to the free throw line. It was Jimmy Butler last night. And Marcus Smart is doing Marcus Smart things as well, which has been a joy to watch.
Or not.
But yeah, so when we get to the playoffs, if they can be anywhere near as good as the NBA playoffs, we're going to be in for a treat, and that is a very good thing.
And what a beautiful place to end. We're going to be in for a treat. And you, everybody who's watching this live, watching this on demand again, thank you so much. Don't forget to share it with your mates, share it with your enemies, share it with your dog's Facebook or Instagram account, and make sure that you subscribe as well to all the Focus Hoops platforms. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back next week with the update, the anticipated update of Mikey's 50-40-90 club and all of the discussion of the WNBA playoff picture. Finally, Kaz Bullock, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Michael Hunter-Morris, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Darren.
And again, a huge thank you to everybody who donated, shared, raised awareness for Ashley Smith's campaign as the Miss Caribbean UK and the Perfect Day Foundation, raising around £2,000 for an amazing cause. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll speak to you